urban survey, I think MAC one. Yeah. We were supposed to make proposals, forecasting the community to a 50-year era, let me put it that way. And so some of us were supposed to modernize the compound house in order to cater for the housing deficit. For this project, we had a lot of information. And in order to show that you've really read, in order to show that I've really done research, I decided to put the research all on the sheets. So this is one of the sheets. So once the lecturer sees the sheets, he can tell that what this person has done work, even when you have little conceptuals. Once they see the information on the sheets, it just shows that what you've done a lot of work. So for this instance, I started looking at what are the issues with compound housing, existing compound housing. What are some of the things that we can pick? What are some of the things that we can do away with? So one of the ideas that came up was to make the people share certain amenities. You can even share staircase, a ramp, which I will show later on. Certain amenities just to cut down cost. You can also make them share washrooms, can strategize on how they will share it, maybe 2 to 1. Certain ideas based on research, very informed research. So for this instance, I decided to make them share a ramp because we're trying to make some of the levels accessible to persons with disability. So instead of doing 2 ramps, in this case, there was 1 ramp that the 2 blocks could share. So that became the whole concept. So everything that was designed was to emphasize the sharing. So in this project, I really emphasized on sharing. Yeah, so common spaces where they'll pound fufu, common spaces where they'll dry their clothes, all based on the word sharing. So in a way, once you've got the idea, it all boils down to how you want to represent the idea or how to make the idea understandable to the people who were not there when you were thinking. Because no one is in your mind. So once you are not able to put what you've thought of outside, it becomes very hard. It's very hard for them to relate with you. So any idea that comes to mind, try to put it down and later find a way to share that idea. It could be through chats, through videos, etc. Okay, the last project that I want to talk about is a competition that a friend of mine and myself we entered. It was during COVID, and the issue was to make our marketplaces more compliant to the COVID measures that were being brought up. So also for this project, we did a very, very thorough study. We even started looking at the history of marketplace, which kind of markets are we supposed to tackle? Because it was open. The site was based on what you would choose. So we decided to choose Kaswa. One of the reasons was that I was close and I could take information from the police. And this map that you are seeing is not Google Earth, although it's derived from Google Earth. It shows how we put in effort even for the existing things that we want to show. It's not always for what you are proposing that you have to put in effort. Even documenting the existing situation, you can put in so much effort so that anyone who hasn't been to the site, just by looking at your site inventory, site analysis, studies, background studies, will understand where you're coming from or would understand what is informing your design. It's very, very important. Documentation. And personally, that's one of my strengths. Someone's strength could be presentation. Yeah. So this the idea that we had. We noticed what they were selling with. Some had boxes, some had shirts, and we just decided to combine them and to make it more secure because sometimes the boxes had small doors that when they close, they pack everything inside and they lock it. Uh, so it's just the same idea from what we saw on site. And we try to, we modernize it and make it COVID compliant. So in order to prevent crowding, we propose multiple parts. So this is coming from what we've seen on site. It's crowded, and we have to reduce crowding. And one of the issues also was that the things that were being sold were not categorized. And if they are not categorized, you realize that people will be moving back and front, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. So in order to control the travel lines, we decided to make it multiple and also categorize the things that were being sold. So that when you go to the market, you know that if I walk ahead, I'm just going to see only tomatoes at this portion. I'm just going to see this at this portion. And this in a way will control the traffic. So that was the whole idea for the planning. And also just by alternating the rain, we could control traffic intervals so that we don't have everyone crowded at one point. Yeah. So this was the animation we sent for the projects for the competition. I mean, the animation showed everything that we wanted to do. So even though we might not have a lot of renderings, you can make up for certain things with other things. You may not have renderings, but you can build a model. You may not have this, but you can do this. So wherever your strength is, just hit on it. Yeah. We'll talk more when I get to the strategies. So I'll just go through the strategies. And for the strategies, I believe they are aimed at, first of all, discovering yourself. Then if you find out your strength, your weakness, then you work towards it, you develop it. And also, as I mentioned earlier, one of the challenges for studio is time. Once you can master your time, you can make good use of your time, I believe you would be okay. So the strategies that or the advice I'll be giving is just aimed towards these three. So one is to know yourself. You have to know yourself. We are all different, coming from different backgrounds. Hmm. Some from general arts, inter science. Know where you're coming from, know your strength. Know whether you like working during the day, whether you like working at night, whether you're good at the software or you're not good with it, whether you enjoy documentation or you enjoy presentation. You like conceptual, you don't like presentation, conceptuals. So anything that you are good at, just know it. Mm. Then once you know it, you can schedule your time according to your capabilities. Always remembering that you are different from someone. You get it? And in order to prevent you being burnt out, always try to create small, small deadlines. Once you've done all the introductory sheets, the background studies, strategize your time, break it down. What are you supposed to do? Which number of sheets are you supposed to do? List them down, then you can start canceling them down. And don't see because this person is using 3 days for this, I'm also going to use 3 days. You have to know yourself. Maybe you will need 7 days. You have to make up for that one. Also, enrich your visual vocabulary. What do I mean by this? Enrich your visual vocabulary. It's just like your the words you know in English. The more words you know, the more you can speak. So the more things you've seen, it will affect what you design, I believe. So learn to watch sci-fi movies. If you don't like it, just learn it. You can't be just be watching Akabenezer and Lewin and you expect to design. You expect to get nice designs. And it doesn't work that way. So learn to enrich what you've seen. You can use sci-fi movies. You can watch documentaries. These are some of the documentaries that I watch. The Architect series, Ugly House to Lovely House, Grand Designs. These are very, very nice and they, in a way, whether unconsciously or consciously, they affect the way you design. Mm. Next, you have to master your tools. You have to master your tools. What you don't know how to do, learn it. If you see something that someone has done, don't be shy to ask how it was done so that you can also learn. The best investment is the tools of one's own profession. Invest in your tools. Don't see learning a software is hard. You don't have time or you don't have money. Go and borrow money and go and learn. If you get someone that's willing to sit down to teach you. Mm. Don't be afraid to start again. Don't be afraid to start again. And this is where the good designs come out from. Always be willing to ideate. Always be willing to try out new things. But in doing so, you have to know that you have a limited time. You don't have to waste all your time. With your design. The link is in the slide. If I share narrator and you are showing us where you are coming from your background, your studies, history of the place, site analysis, site studies, the first idea that you got, and how you transform that idea, and how you are showing us that idea. So it's like a story that you are telling. And at the climax of this story is when you found out a lot about what you are doing and what you found out, what is it informing you, and how are you taking all the things that you found out and how are you using it for your design. That's the climax point. And if you're able to get that part really, really well, I believe everything will be okay. So the climax is usually after you've done a lot of research, you found out a lot of things, and you're transferring your research into the design. I believe that's the climax. If you are able to get that one, the rest will just fall in place. Yeah. So finally, I would say that design is a process and not a product. We want to know the story you're trying to tell. We don't want to see you at the destination. We want you to show us where you are coming from. So every process is important and you have to show it. All right. So thank you for listening. If there are any questions, I can take.
Thank you very much, Mr. Cornelius. Cornelius Boateng.